Maya Chen stared at the medical bill in her trembling hands. $500,000. The numbers seemed to blur together as tears filled her eyes. She was sitting in the hospital cafeteria at 2 a.m., still wearing her scrubs from another exhausting shift in the ICU. Her mother's cancer had returned with a vengeance. The doctors said there was hope, a new experimental treatment that could save her life. But insurance companies called it investigational and refused to pay. Maya had already sold everything she owned, worked double shifts for months, and borrowed money from every friend who would listen. It still wasn't enough. "Maya, you look terrible." Her colleague Jessica sat down across from her. "When's the last time you went home?" "I can't afford to go home," Maya whispered. "Every hour I'm not working is money I'm not making." She folded the bill and shoved it into her pocket. "Mom starts getting worse next week if we don't begin treatment." Jessica reached across and squeezed her hand. There has to be another way. Maya wanted to believe that, but she'd exhausted every option. She'd applied for medical grants, started online fundraisers, even considered taking out predatory loans that would ruin her credit forever. Nothing came close to the amount they needed. "I should get back to work," Maya said, standing up on shaky legs, walking through the hospital corridors. Maya passed room 1247. Through the slightly open door, she could see the patient who'd been there for weeks, Ryan Mitchell. Everyone knew who he was, even if they pretended not to. His face had been on magazine covers, his company had changed how people use technology, and his wealth was legendary. But money couldn't fix everything. Ryan was dying. Maya had been assigned to his care rotation several times. Unlike other wealthy patients who treated nurses like servants, Ryan was always polite. He said please and thank you, never complained when procedures were uncomfortable, and actually listened when she explained his medications. The strange thing was how alone he seemed. Sure, expensive lawyers visited. His business partners held meetings in the family lounge. But Maya never saw anyone who looked like they actually cared about him as a person. No friends bringing flowers. No family members holding his hand during the worst moments. Tonight, she knocked softly on his door. "Mr. Mitchell, time for your evening medications." Ryan was awake, staring out the window at the city lights. He looked older than his 34 years, his face gaunt from months of illness. But his eyes were still sharp, still intelligent. "Maya, right?" He turned toward her with a small smile. "The nurse who actually explains what these pills do instead of just shoving them at me. That's me." She prepared his medications, checking each one carefully. "How are you feeling tonight?" "Like I'm dying," he said matter-of-factly. Which, according to Dr. Peterson, is exactly what's happening. Maya didn't know what to say to that. In nursing school, they taught you to be encouraging, to focus on hope. But Ryan wasn't the kind of patient who wanted false cheerfulness. "I'm sorry," she said simply. "Don't be. We all die eventually. I just thought I'd have more time to figure out what to do with all this money." He gestured vaguely around the room. "Turns out you can't take it with you." Something in his voice made Maya pause. "What do you mean?" Ryan studied her face for a moment. "Can I trust you with something?" "I mean, really trust you?" Maya nodded, though she wasn't sure why. "My family is a bunch of vultures," Ryan continued. "They've been waiting for me to die so they can inherit everything. But here's the thing. My grandfather was smarter than they realized. He put conditions in his will, conditions. I have to be married to maintain control of the Reed Foundation. It's worth almost $3 billion, and every year it funds medical research, builds hospitals in poor countries, pays for treatments that insurance companies won't cover." Ryan's voice grew stronger as he spoke about it. "If I die unmarried, my cousins inherit everything. And they've already made it clear they plan to dissolve the foundation and keep the money for themselves." Maya felt a chill. That's horrible. Thousands of people depend on that foundation. Kids with rare diseases, families who can't afford surgery, researchers working on cures for cancer. Ryan looked directly at her. "My cousin Brandon actually laughed when he told me about their plans. Said charity was for suckers. Can't you just get married?" Maya asked. "I mean, there must be someone." Ryan laughed bitterly. "Who?" "Every woman I've dated was more interested in my bank account than me. The few genuine ones ran away when they realized how complicated my life is. And now I'm dying, so it's not exactly prime dating material." Maya finished preparing his medications and handed them to him. "I'm sure you'll figure something out." "Actually," Ryan said, his voice suddenly different, more focused. I've been thinking about that, and I have an idea that might sound crazy. Something in his tone made Maya nervous. What kind of idea? You need money for your mother's treatment. I need a wife to protect the foundation. What if we helped each other? Maya stared at him. Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? A business arrangement? Marriage on paper only. I'll pay for your mother's treatment, plus $2 million for you. In exchange, you marry me and ensure the foundation continues helping people after I'm gone. Ryan leaned forward slightly. I've got maybe 6 weeks left according to the doctors. 6 weeks and then you're a wealthy widow who saved thousands of lives. Maya's head was spinning. That's insane. Is it? You get the money to save your mother. The foundation continues helping people, and I get to die knowing I did something right with my life. Ryan's eyes were serious and tense. Maya, I've watched you work. You care about people. You're not doing this job for money. Nurses don't get rich. You do it because you want to help. I can't just marry someone I barely know. You wouldn't really be marrying me. You'd be marrying a cause. Think about it. Your mother lives and thousands of other families get help they desperately need. Families just like yours. Maya felt like the walls were closing in. It was too much, too overwhelming. I need to think about this, of course. But Maya, Ryan's voice was gentle now. Don't think too long. Time isn't something either of us has a lot of. That night, Maya sat beside her mother's bed in the oncology ward. Her mom was sleeping, but even unconscious, she looked frail and tired. The cancer was winning, and they both knew it. Maya pulled out her phone and looked up the Reed Foundation online. Page after page of success stories, children who received life-saving surgeries, hospitals built in places that had never had proper medical care, research grants that led to breakthrough treatments. She thought about Ryan, alone in his room trying to figure out how to do something good with his death. She thought about Brandon and the other relatives who were planning to destroy all of this work just to get richer. Maya's mother stirred slightly. Maya, is that you, sweetheart? I'm here, Mom. I've been thinking, her mother said weakly. Maybe it's time to stop fighting. This treatment, it's too expensive. I can't let you destroy your life trying to save mine. Don't say that. Maya took her mother's hand. We're going to find a way. Promise me something, her mother whispered. If I don't make it, promise you'll find happiness. Find someone who loves you. Have the family you've always wanted. Maya squeezed her mother's hand, fighting back tears. I promise. But as she sat there in the dark hospital room, Maya realized she might have found a way to save her mother's life. The question was, could she really go through with marrying a dying stranger? Outside, the city hummed with life, unaware that in 2 hospital rooms, 2 desperate people were about to make a decision that would change everything. 3 days passed before Maya gave Ryan her answer. She found him reading a book about marine biology, which surprised her. She'd expected business reports or financial documents. Dolphins, he explained, noticing her expression. I always wanted to study them when I was a kid. Funny what you think about when you're dying. Maya pulled up the chair beside his bed. I'll do it. The marriage thing. But I have conditions. Ryan set down his book, suddenly alert. I'm listening. This stays between us. No one can know, it's just business. And when you're gone, I want to help run the foundation. I want to make sure the money actually reaches people who need it. Done. Ryan extended his hand. Partners? Maya shook it, surprised by how warm his skin felt. Partners. The wedding ceremony happened 5 days later in Ryan's hospital room. The hospital chaplain performed the service with 2 nurses serving as witnesses. Maya wore a simple blue dress she'd borrowed from Jessica. Ryan was propped up in his hospital bed wearing pajamas and a robe. It was the strangest wedding Maya had ever imagined. No flowers, no music, no family. Just legal documents and quiet vows spoken in a room that smelled like disinfectant. When the chaplain pronounced them husband and wife, Ryan squeezed her hand gently. Thank you, he whispered. Maya's mother cried when Maya told her about the marriage. Not sad tears, but relief. You found a way, she kept saying. You found a way to save us both. The experimental treatment began the next day. Maya watched her mother receive the first infusion, holding her breath with hope for the first time in months. The medicine was expensive, but now they could afford it. The doctors were optimistic. Meanwhile, something unexpected was happening with Ryan. His Numbers are improving, Dr. Peterson told Maya 2 weeks after the wedding. I don't understand it. This morning's blood work shows significant improvement. Maya felt confused rather than happy. But you said he had 6 weeks. That was my best medical opinion based on his condition. But sometimes, Dr. Peterson shrugged, sometimes patients surprise us. There's a new experimental drug trial he might qualify for. It's a long shot, but given this improvement, Maya sat in the hallway outside Ryan's room, trying to process this information. She'd married a dying man. What happened if he didn't die? Ryan was sitting up when she entered his room, looking more alert than she'd seen him in weeks. His color was better, his breathing easier. Maya, there you are. Dr. Peterson says I might be getting better. He paused, studying her face. You don't look happy about that. Of course I'm happy. It's just, Maya struggled to find words. We didn't plan for this. No, we didn't. Ryan was quiet for a moment. Look, if this treatment works, if I actually recover, we'll figure something out. Maybe a quiet divorce in a few months. You keep the money, I keep the foundation protected. Nobody gets hurt. But Maya wasn't sure it would be that simple. The experimental treatment worked better than anyone expected. Within 6 weeks, Ryan was strong enough to leave the hospital. Within 3 months, he was declared in remission. The rare genetic condition that should have killed him was responding to a drug combination that had never been tried before. It's miraculous, Dr. Peterson said. We'll need to monitor him closely, but his prognosis is excellent. Maya found herself in the strangest situation of her life. She was married to a billionaire who was supposed to be dead by now. Ryan's lawyers insisted they maintain the appearance of a real marriage for legal reasons. His business associates were suspicious enough already. The penthouse has plenty of space, Ryan said as they discussed living arrangements. He was still weak but getting stronger every day. You can have your own wing. We barely have to see each other. Maya had never lived anywhere like Ryan's penthouse. The elevator opened directly into the apartment, which took up the entire top floor of a Manhattan skyscraper. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered views of the city that took her breath away. The kitchen was bigger than her entire previous apartment. The housekeeper comes 3 times a week, Ryan explained, leading her through rooms filled with expensive furniture she was afraid to touch. There's a gym, a library, and this is your room. The bedroom he showed her was elegant and spacious with its own bathroom and walk-in closet. A bouquet of fresh flowers sat on the nightstand with a note. Welcome home. It's beautiful, Maya said, meaning it. But Ryan, I can't afford to live like this. You're not paying for it. This is part of our arrangement. Ryan leaned against the doorframe, still tired from the walk around the apartment. Besides, it's just temporary, right? Until we figure out our next move. Maya nodded, but something about the word temporary bothered her. Living with Ryan was awkward in ways Maya hadn't expected. They were essentially strangers who happened to be legally married. They established routines that kept them apart. Maya left for the hospital early. Ryan worked from his home office. They ate dinner together because it seemed like what married couples should do, but conversation was stilted and formal. How was your day? Became their standard greeting. Fine, thank you. How was yours? Maya continued working despite not needing the money anymore. Partly because she loved her job, partly because she didn't know what else to do with herself. She donated most of her salary to a fund that helped other families pay medical bills. Ryan spent his days slowly rebuilding his strength and running his business empire from home. He took video calls from his office, participated in board meetings, and reviewed financial reports. But Maya noticed he moved more carefully now, still recovering from months of illness. The strangest part was how polite they were to each other. Ryan always asked before changing the temperature or the TV channel. Maya knocked before entering any room he might be in. They were like respectful roommates who happened to share a last name. This is ridiculous, Jessica said when Maya described her new life. You're living with a gorgeous billionaire who seems like a decent person, and you're treating him like he has the plague. It's not like that, Maya protested. This is business. We both know that. Does he know that? Because from what you've told me, he seems pretty grateful you saved his foundation, and his life indirectly. Maya didn't want to think about that. She'd married Ryan expecting to be a widow within weeks. Instead, she was a wife to a man she barely knew, living a life that felt like playing dress-up. The turning point came during their second month of living together. Maya woke up in the middle of the night to sounds coming from Ryan's room. Not good sounds, She found him on the bathroom floor, pale and shaking. I think something's wrong, he managed to say. Maya's nursing training kicked in immediately. She checked his pulse, assessed his breathing, and called Dr. Peterson. Within 20 minutes, they were back in the hospital. Panic attack, Dr. Peterson diagnosed after running tests. Common in patients recovering from life-threatening illnesses. The mind sometimes has trouble accepting that the danger has passed. Maya sat beside Ryan's hospital bed, the same bed where they'd gotten married months earlier. He looked embarrassed and vulnerable. I thought I was dying again, he admitted quietly. For a moment I was back to thinking I had weeks left. But you don't, Maya said firmly. The tests all show you're getting better. I know that logically. But sometimes at night I wake up and forget. I think about all the things I never got to do, all the ways I wasted time. Ryan looked at her directly. Including this weird arrangement we have. We're married, but we're not really living. Maya felt something shift inside her chest. What do you mean? I mean, maybe we could try being friends. Real friends. Not just polite strangers who share an apartment. Ryan's voice was tentative. I know this isn't what either of us planned. But we're stuck with each other for now. Might as well make the best of it. Maya considered this. She'd been so focused on maintaining distance that she hadn't considered what friendship with Ryan might look like. Friends, she repeated. I think I'd like that. Ryan smiled. The first genuine smile she'd seen from him since his recovery began. Good, because I was getting tired of asking how your day was. Maya laughed despite herself. It was pretty boring. How was yours? Terrible. But maybe tomorrow will be better. For the first time since their strange marriage began, Maya thought it might be. The friendship between Maya and Ryan began with small things. Instead of eating dinner in polite silence, they started actually talking. Ryan asked about her patients, and Maya found herself sharing stories about the funny things kids said in the pediatric ward or the elderly man who flirted with all the nurses. There's this one patient, Mr. Torres, Maya said one evening as they shared Chinese takeout. He's 92 and has been married for 70 years. Every day his wife brings him homemade cookies, and every day he pretends to be surprised. Ryan smiled. 70 years. That's incredible. He told me their secret yesterday. He said, Maya, the trick isn't finding someone perfect. It's finding someone whose imperfections you can live with, and who can live with yours. Maya paused, realizing how that might sound given their situation. Smart man, Ryan said quietly. As weeks passed, Maya discovered that Ryan wasn't anything like she'd expected. Yes, he was wealthy and successful, but he was also surprisingly down to earth. He did his own laundry, preferred cooking simple meals to ordering expensive food, and had a dry sense of humor that caught her off guard. You know what I missed most in the hospital? He told her one morning as they had coffee together. Making pancakes. It's stupid, but I love making breakfast. That's not stupid, Maya said. I missed my mom's terrible singing. She can't carry a tune to save her life, but she sings while she cooks. Speaking of her mother, the experimental treatment was working. Maya's mom was responding well, gaining weight, and her latest scans showed the tumor shrinking. For the first time in over a year, Maya felt like she could breathe. I owe you everything, she told Ryan one evening. You don't owe me anything. We helped each other. Ryan was reading in the living room, his legs stretched out on the ottoman. How's she doing this week? Good, really good. She wants to meet you, by the way. Ryan looked up from his book, surprised. Meet me? I told her about you. Well, some things about you. She thinks any man who would help save her daughter's mother must be worth knowing. I'd like that, Ryan said, and Maya could tell he meant it. The meeting happened the following Saturday. Maya was nervous as she led Ryan through the hospital corridors to her mother's room. Her mom was sitting up in bed looking better than she had in months. So you're the famous Ryan, her mother said with a warm smile. Maya talks about you all the time. Mom, Maya warned, feeling her cheeks flush. What? It's true. Ryan helped her with work stress. Ryan made dinner. Ryan fixed the coffee machine. Her mother's eyes twinkled with mischief. For a business arrangement, you two spend a lot of time together. Ryan handled it gracefully, charming Maya's mother with stories about his recovery and asking genuine questions about her treatment. When they left an hour later, Unlivable. Maya, you know this is garbage, right? Jessica said. Anyone who knows you would never believe this. But Maya was thinking about all the people who didn't know her. Ryan's business associates, the foundation's board members, the media. What if they believed this story? She left work early and rushed home, finding Ryan in his office on a tense phone call with his lawyer. I don't care what it costs, Ryan was saying. Find out who's behind this and shut it down. When he saw Maya in the doorway, his expression shifted to guilt. You saw the article, he said after ending the call. Who's doing this to us? Maya asked. Ryan rubbed his face tiredly. My cousin Kevin. He's been trying to find a way to challenge my control of the foundation since I recovered. He hired a private investigator to dig into our marriage. What did they find? Nothing concrete, but they know we got married quickly. They know about your mother's medical bills, and they know I was supposed to die. Kevin is spinning it into some conspiracy. Maya sank into a chair. Ryan, what if this destroys everything? The foundation, your reputation, my career? It won't. My lawyers are handling it. Your lawyers can't change the fact that parts of this story are true. We did get married for business reasons. I was broke and desperate. But that's not the whole truth, Ryan said firmly. We fell in love. What we have now is real. I know that. You know that. But how do we prove it to the world? Over the next week, the situation got worse. More articles appeared, each one more sensational than the last. Photographers started following Maya to work. Reporters called the hospital asking for comments. Ryan's business meetings became tense affairs where people whispered behind his back. The stress was taking its toll on both of them. Maya barely slept, jumping at every phone ring. Ryan was constantly on the phone with lawyers and publicists, trying to control the damage. Then Maya's mother got sick again. The call came at 2 a.m. Maya's mother had collapsed at home and been rushed to the emergency room. Maya threw on clothes and raced to the hospital, her mind spinning with panic. It's not the cancer, Dr. Peterson assured her when she arrived. Her immune system is compromised from the treatment. She developed a severe infection, but we caught it early. She should be fine. Maya sat beside her mother's bed, holding her hand and trying not to cry. Everything felt like it was falling apart. Maya? Her mother's voice was weak but alert. What's wrong, sweetheart? You look terrible. Maya couldn't hold back the tears anymore. She told her mother everything. About the articles, the investigation, the way people were looking at her and Ryan now. I think I made a mistake, Maya whispered. I think I've ruined everything. Oh, honey, you fell in love. That's not a mistake. But what if Ryan only thinks he loves me because I helped him? What if this whole thing is just some psychological reaction to trauma? Maya Chen, I raised you to be smarter than this. Her mother's voice was firm despite her weakness. That man loves you. I see it every time he looks at you. Don't let some jealous relative convince you otherwise. But the doubt had been planted, and it grew over the following days. Maya overheard a phone conversation between Ryan and his business partner that made everything worse. The Maya situation is becoming problematic, Ryan was saying. We need to minimize the damage to the company. Maya stood frozen outside his office. The Maya situation? Was that what she was to him now? I know she means well, Ryan continued, but maybe she should step back from foundation events until this blows over. Maya felt like she'd been slapped. He was protecting his business interests, and she was just a liability to manage. That night, Maya packed a bag while Ryan was in another endless phone call with his lawyers. She couldn't think clearly with all the pressure, all the scrutiny, all the doubt. She left a note on their bed. I need some time to figure out what's real and what isn't. I'm sorry. Maya went to stay with Jessica, turning off her phone and refusing to answer the door when Ryan came looking for her. He's called 20 times, Jessica said. Maya, whatever you heard or read, you should at least talk to him. But Maya couldn't. The fairy tale was over, and she was back to being a broke nurse who'd gotten in over her head with a billionaire's complicated life. She filed for divorce 3 days later, convinced that ending things now was better than waiting for Ryan to realize their marriage had been a mistake from the beginning. Maya spent 3 miserable days at Jessica's apartment, ignoring Ryan's calls and trying to convince herself she'd made the right decision. But her heart wasn't buying it. You're being an idiot, Jessica said bluntly on the 3rd morning, finding Maya staring at her untouched breakfast. That man is out there fighting for you, and you're hiding in my living room feeling sorry for yourself. You don't understand. I heard him on the phone. I'm just a problem he needs to manage. Did you actually listen to the whole conversation, or did you hear what you expected to hear? Before Maya could answer, there was a knock at the door. Jessica opened it to find Maya's mother, looking much better than she had in the hospital. "Mom, what are you doing here? You should be resting. I should be talking sense into my stubborn daughter." Maya's mother sat down heavily on the couch. "Ryan called me. He's worried sick about you. He's probably relieved I left. Now he doesn't have to deal with the scandal. Maya Chen, I thought I raised you to be smarter than this." Her mother's voice was sharp. "That man has been at the hospital every day since you left, helping me with insurance paperwork and making sure I have everything I need. Does that sound like someone who's relieved you're gone?" Maya felt a stab of guilt. "He's been helping you?" "More than that. Yesterday he brought me something." Maya's mother pulled out her phone and showed Maya a video. "He wanted you to see this." The video showed Ryan standing in what looked like a law office, facing a room full of people in expensive suits. "I'm here today to make something clear," Ryan was saying in the video. "The articles about my wife Maya are lies. She didn't marry me for money. She married me to help people through my foundation, and she's the most selfless person I know." Maya watched, transfixed, as Ryan continued. "My cousin Kevin hired investigators to destroy my marriage because he wants control of my inheritance. But here's what Kevin doesn't understand. Even if I lost every penny tomorrow, I'd still want to be married to Maya. She makes me a better person. She makes me want to be worthy of her love." The video showed Ryan turning to look directly at the camera. "Maya, if you're watching this, please come home. Not to the penthouse, not to the money, not to any of this business nonsense. Come home to me. Because without you, none of it means anything." Maya was crying before the video ended. "When did he make this?" "Yesterday. He also did something else." Her mother pulled out a newspaper. "Look at the front page." The headline read, "Billionaire exposes cousin's scheme to destroy marriage." The article detailed how Ryan's legal team had uncovered evidence that Kevin had been feeding false information to reporters, bribing sources, and even attempting to sabotage Ryan's business deals. "Kevin's been arrested," Maya's mother continued. "Fraud, bribery, a bunch of other charges. Ryan's lawyers proved everything." Maya stared at the newspaper, her mind reeling. "He cleared my name. He cleared both your names. But Maya, that phone conversation you overheard? I think you misunderstood." "What do you mean?" "Ryan told me about it. He wasn't calling you a problem. He was trying to protect you from the media attention. He wanted you to step back from public events so the reporters would stop bothering you, not because he was embarrassed of you." Maya felt like an idiot. Of course that's what he'd meant. She'd been so caught up in her own insecurities that she'd twisted his words into something hurtful. "I have to go," Maya said, jumping up from the couch. "Where?" Jessica called after her. "To find my husband." Maya rushed to the penthouse, but Ryan wasn't there. The housekeeper told her he'd been staying at the office, sleeping on the couch in his conference room. Maya's heart broke thinking of him alone in that sterile office building. She found him there at 10 p.m. still working despite looking exhausted. When he saw her in the doorway, his face went through a dozen emotions. "Maya." He stood up slowly like he was afraid she might disappear. "You came back." "I'm sorry." The words tumbled out of her. "I'm so sorry, Ryan. I heard part of that phone conversation and I was scared and I ran instead of talking to you." "You don't have to apologize. I should have told you what was happening with Kevin from the beginning. My mom showed me your video. And the newspaper." Maya stepped closer to him. "You didn't have to do all that for me." "Yes, I did. Maya, you're not some problem I need to manage. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." Ryan's voice was raw with emotion. "I love you. Not because you helped me, not because of our arrangement, but because you're you. You're kind and strong and you make me laugh, and I can't imagine my life without you." Maya closed the distance between them and kissed him, pouring all her love and regret and hope into it. When they finally broke apart, both were crying. "I love you too," she whispered. "I was just scared. This whole thing happened so fast and I kept thinking it was too good to be true." "It is too good to be true, but it's also real." Ryan cupped her face in his hands. "Maya, I want to do this right. I want to court you properly, make you feel special, show you every day how much you mean to me. We're already married, Ryan. I know, but we got married for all the wrong reasons. I want us to choose each other for all the right ones." 6 months later, Maya and Ryan had a second wedding. This one was different from their quiet hospital ceremony. It took place in the garden of the children's hospital where Maya worked. surrounded by family, friends, and some of the patients whose lives they'd touched through the foundation. Maya wore a beautiful white dress that Ryan had helped her pick out. He wore a navy suit and couldn't stop smiling. Maya's mother, now cancer-free, walked Maya down the aisle. "Do you, Ryan Mitchell, take Maya Chen to be your wife, in sickness and health, in good times and bad, for as long as you both shall live?" the minister asked. "I do," Ryan said, his voice strong and clear. "And I promise to love her not because I have to, but because I choose to, every single day." When Maya said her vows, she spoke from her heart. "Ryan, you came into my life when I was desperate and afraid, but you didn't just save my mother's life or give me financial security. You taught me that love doesn't have to be scary. You showed me that two people can take care of each other and build something beautiful together." They exchanged new rings, simple gold bands they'd chosen together, replacing the expensive diamond ring Ryan had given her the first time around. "You may kiss your bride," the minister announced. As Ryan kissed her, Maya heard cheering from their guests and felt complete happiness wash over her. This was what she'd always dreamed of. Not the money or the luxury, but the feeling of being truly, deeply loved by someone who knew all her flaws and chose her anyway. 1 year later, Maya was sitting in the nursery of their new house, not the penthouse, but a comfortable home in a good neighborhood where they could raise a family. She was rocking their 3-month-old daughter, Elena, while Ryan finished giving her a bottle. "She's got your eyes," Ryan said softly, looking at their daughter with wonder. "And your stubborn streak," Maya replied with a laugh. The Reed Foundation was thriving under their joint leadership. They'd opened 5 new children's hospitals and started a program that helped families pay for experimental treatments. Maya had left her job at the hospital to run the foundation full-time, but she still volunteered in the pediatric ward twice a week. "Do you ever regret it?" Ryan asked one evening as they watched the sunset from their backyard. "All of this? The way we started?" Maya considered the question seriously. "No. I think we found each other exactly when we were supposed to. You needed someone who would love you for who you are, not what you have. I needed someone who would show me that I deserved to be loved completely. Even the part where you thought I was going to die. Especially that part. It taught me not to waste time being scared of love." Ryan pulled her closer and Maya rested her head on his shoulder. Elena was sleeping peacefully in her crib, and everything felt perfect. "What would you tell someone if they asked you the secret to a happy marriage?" Ryan asked. Maya thought about Mr. Torres, the elderly patient who'd been married for 70 years. "I'd tell them it's not about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone whose imperfections you can live with, and who can live with yours. But more than that, it's about choosing to love each other even when it's hard." "Smart woman," Ryan said, kissing the top of her head. "I learned from the best," Maya replied, and she meant it. Their love story had started with desperation and a business arrangement. But it had become something neither of them had expected, a real partnership, a genuine love, and a life built on helping others and taking care of each other. Sometimes the best things really did happen when you least expected them.